So if you look at the world number of deaths from natural disaster, again, it is high in India, and it is moderate in China, and whereas in the USA it is less. So likewise, we see the natural disaster is somewhat different at different places. Some of the disasters can be mitigated, some of the disasters cannot be mitigated. And even then, with all this present technology, the number of deaths are high in USA and India. So
excuse me sir, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಫುಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ವೈಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಪ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು.
Okay,
once on taskbar is there sir. Okay sir, now thank you sir.
Okay, so the 10 populations exposed to natural hazards, the most the vulnerable countries like India, 82% of the population is exposed to natural hazards, and China, Indonesia, United States. So likewise, we find the exposure to the natural hazards are more in India and China. And whereas USA, though it is having more number of vulnerability, but the exposure to the population exposure to disasters are 65%, whereas in India it is 82%, and in Indonesia 91%. So we find Japan 96%. So because as I said that Japan is most susceptible to earthquake disasters which cannot be prevented. So that's why, and it is a island country, and it is situated on the triple junction, that is the tectonic plate margins, and due to this it is having 96%, and Philippines is again in the same region, the Pacific Ocean, whereas Bangladesh is 100%. Bangladesh, it's not earthquake, it is a flood. So likewise, the population of India, 82% of the population in India is exposed to natural hazards, whereas in USA it is 65%, and many more countries are very much less. So global climatic risk index shows that India is having higher risk of climate change, and high temperature is increasing. So that is another aspect. And you can find in this map in 2009 map, you can see the most dangerous countries in the world which are suffered a lot of natural disasters. So let me look into the disaster in India. So the most common disasters in India are earthquake, landslides, cyclone, flood, drought and desertification, and forest fire. So these are the major natural disasters. Among these natural disasters, we find the cyclones and flood are most common every year we find, and drought and desertification is a very slow process. Means we will talk about the drought and desertification in the end of this session. So earthquake, we know that India is vulnerable to earthquake in the Himalayas. Himalayas are the it is a forefront boundary. Means you know that the Himalayas are formed due to the actually, you know, I do not know whether you might have heard about the plate boundaries or the tectonic plates. The South Indian plate is pushing the Asian continent. Because of this, the peninsular Indian plate is pushing the Indian Asian continent. The Himalayas have emerged, and this Himalayas is most vulnerable for earthquake. It is most vulnerable for earthquake. Apart from Himalayas, the coastal zones and the Thar desert regions are vulnerable for earthquake. And the landslides are again in the Himalayas. The cyclones are in the coastal zones. The floods are in interior lines. The drought and desertification on the and the intercontinental lines. Intercontinental lines, those lines which are situated far away from the sea, is called as intercontinental location. So there we find drought and desertification, and then forest fire is common in the forest regions. Among the above mentioned disasters, it can be classified endogenetic forces induced, and endogenic means which is emanating from the earth, inside the earth, such as earthquake, volcanoes, landslides. So among the disasters mentioned, desertification is the serious hazard caused both due to climate change and human intervention. Desertification is a slow process which has engulfed more than 42% of the land in India. If we do not take a proper measure, we will be going to lose most of the land into desert, and people has to migrate from these regions. So from this point of view, my talk is focused on the process of desertification in Karnataka, and the few slides will cover the other disasters such as landslides, earthquake, flood, and forest fire. So you find that the landslides in India, so these are all Himalayan regions landslides, means you can see how terrible it is if the entire earth itself collapses. And in 2018-19, we saw landslides in Kodagu region as well as Kerala, many parts of Wayanad region. There was a lot of landslides, so which was not seen earlier. And the landslides can be triggered by earthquake or volcanic eruption or soil saturated by heavy rains or groundwater rise and river undercutting. It is, see, these are all the natural reasons, but most of the landslides in Himalayas are taking place due to the cutting of the road. What they do, they just, what they construct the road, and there will be no what reinforcement or the protective wall for this sliding land. The sliding land should be protected. If they do not protect it, it will fall down. So the road cutting is the major issue, but the natural landslide will happen when there is an earthquake or volcanic eruption, or when heavy rains are there, or groundwater rises. So it collapses. There's the sublimation means this what the entire land will just subside down, and the river undercutting can also result into landslides. So although landslides are highly localized, they can be particularly hazardous due to the frequency of occurrence. Means we see these landslides most commonly in the Himalayan regions as well as in the Western Ghats. So here you can see this is the actual lands. See, this is the road cutting. Can you see there is a road, and when the slope is disturbed, the gravity of the slope is disturbed, so this leads to the fall of land, and you find the landslides occurred. And if you travel in Himalayas, you can find quite commonly this kind of landslides. So earthquake, as you said, it is most suddenly developed disaster. So one will not be knowing when that will strike and which place it will strike, at what time it will strike. So because of the earthquake, you can see recently in Indonesia earthquake occurred, and this is most common. Earthquakes are most common in the plate tectonic boundaries where the two plates meet. That too, especially if it is a convergent plate margins, there the earthquakes will be more. So earthquakes are caused by the sudden release of slowly accumulated strain energy along a fault. Earthquake occurs most commonly at the collision zone between tectonic plates. So there are important means means one has to know about the earthquake, because the natural hazard that on an average kills the highest number of people per year. See, actually flood and cyclones are most vast, and the area covered by them by these cyclones are very huge, and the more number of people are affected are also very high cyclone for the cyclones. But the more number of deaths takes place due to earthquake. The only reason is that the cyclones can be forecasted, and the people can be safeguarded, but it is not possible in the case of earthquake. It is sudden disturbance. The commonly strikes without warning, no time for evacuation, and not a predictable trend to earthquake numbers, magnitude, or location. So earthquake situation in India, the Indian subcontinent is divided into four seismic zones. This level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. So this level 5 is very severe. Level 2 is less severe, whereas moderate and high. 3 is moderate, 4 is high, 5 is very high. So let us see what are the zones. Means the area with minor damage causing damage to the structures is called as, that is 0.10 seconds. If the earthquake takes place for less than 0.10 seconds, that will be regarded as the most what lesser impact earthquake. So we find the zone 3. Seismic zone 3 covers parts of Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, West Bengal, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. Means Karnataka comes under seismic zone 3, and the seismic zone 4 is covered by, on the slides of. So it is especially in the Himalayan region, in the greater plains, then Indo-Gangetic plains and the Himalayas comes under the seismic zone 4, and seismic zone 5 is in the Himalayas, which will create a powerful shocks. Means it is most vulnerable earthquake where more number of people are subjected to, means they are vulnerable to means lose their life and property. So this is seen in the Himalayan region. And you can find in this map, the seismic zone of a map of India, about 59% of the land area of India is liable to seismic hazard damage. Means we see this is a quite high area. Means 59% of the land area of India is liable to seismic damage. Means any part of India can have earthquakes. Although we have categorized zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, it is all based on the structure of the rock. The what is the underlying geology is in a place, and it is not guarantee that most hardest rock will not have any earthquake. If you look at the Deccan Plate itself, see, our Deccan Plate is considered to be zone 3 category, but if you look at the past earthquake activities like Shivanasamudra fault or the Vaganical fault, so these are all very good examples. Inchin fault, all these are very good examples of that the earthquake has struck most severely, because here the granite, we see the underlying rock is granite, which is hardest, but it is not sure that we'll be always safe from earthquake. But those places which are having very loose rocky structure, they will have more vulnerability to earthquake. So in that way, the northern India, that is Himalayan regions and the Indo-Gangetic plains, these places have what very soft rock layers and weak rocks. Because of this, we can see these places are considered to be most risky, and they can, means it is expected that earthquake can strike anytime in these areas. So here you can find this is the type of housing in Himalayas. So they just cut the slope and make use of the slope for First level one road will be there, and the same road, if it comes to the top, it will be used for the terrace parking. So where the actually the land itself is loose, and constructing multi-story building and giving scope for the parking of the vehicles and all, this leads to much more greater risk. And even you can find this type of housing in Himachal Pradesh. See, this structure is actually withstanding such a big house on the top, and this particular structure itself in a slope, and there is lot of rainfall, there is also erosion, and when there are such type of factors are clearly visible, even despite of that, if the people are constructing, this leads to more death as well as loss of property. So you can find in this picture also the stones, they have put the stones in certain places. This Himalayan what sedimentation has resulted in a plate-like rock formation. They use that plate rock for construction of walls as well as floor as well as roof. You can find this in the next pictures. See here the stones itself used as a tiles. So when people make use of the local material to such an extent, what will happen if there is a very mild earthquake also, these stones will fall down and it will kill the people. So the more number of deaths occurred due to the lack of awareness among the people. So this way we can mitigate the any disaster. So here the another adjacent building is with the pillars. This pillar means column buildings will withstand earthquake, whereas this one, the next to it, it is a very weak structure, and moreover they have used the rocky plates for as a roof, which is totally not advisable, because even a minor earthquake can bring down this house, and people inside will be definitely killed. So this is the earthquake map of India generated through means remote sensing and GIS analysis, and you can find the mountainous regions. See, this is Himalayan mountains, and you find the Vindhya Satpura ranges, and you find the eastern Himalaya, eastern Ghats, as well as the some parts of the Bombay region, Western Ghats is having more vulnerability, and even in the some parts of the Aravalis and the Thar Desert, the Aravalli Hills are there. So these are all the major um, susceptible. Susceptible means the probability of occurrence is higher. Chances of occurrence are higher in these regions. And the past earthquake episodes of India can give us much more clear information. So if you look at this map, India is exposed to earthquake in most of the parts. It's exposed in interior, it is exposed in the desert, it is also exposed in Madhya Pradesh, means the Himalayan regions. Means India, in India, earthquake has taken place almost in all parts of the region. So coming over to the floods, so it's another major disaster in India, and we do not find the flood as severe as in Assam and means in India, Assam, and in Bangladesh also, because these two countries are attached together, these two places. So the floods are common in these places, but in India we find sometimes Kaveri also floods, and Tamil Nadu region sometimes it will be flood. And the major reason for the flood is no doubt the sudden downpour of heavy rainfall. So once, because each river has got its own water carrying capacity, means the channel path will have certain limit up to which it can, the water will flow in that particular channel path. Suppose all of a sudden there is heavy downpour of water, then the water will overflow the river brim. So when the river comes to the bank, that is flood. When the water from the river overflows out of the bank of the river, it is called as flood, and that will occur when there is a sudden downpour of waterfall. There are 10 means 10 years, 100 years floods, 500 years floods, and monsoon floods. Means they are means we have classified the region based on the flood history, and on that will be most useful for to mitigate or to take up the planning. So what is the history of its flood history? So monsoon floods are most common in southern India. So these are the various means even in Mysore it happened, and the disaster management cell used boats to rescue the people in the Shirampura region. Shirampura, Mysore city, Shirampura was flooded, and people were brought out of the houses using boat. We can just imagine that Mysore had such a flood, and boats were used. Means it is quite because why I say flood is not a common situation in Mysore or Deccan Plateau means it is undulating topography. Undulating topography means it is having good slope. Even then, with even though there is a good slope, because Mysore city is located on a ridge line in between the Kaveri and Kabini river, and there is a good slope towards Kaveri as well as good slope towards the Kabini. Despite this condition, if Mysore has experienced flood, means we can relate it not naturally. The flood has not the rainfall is natural, but the flood has occurred not because of the natural reasons. It is because of the human intervention. We'll discuss that later on. So these are the most commonly susceptible regions of flood: Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, West Bengal, Assam, Bihar. So these regions are the most susceptible for floods in India. And flood zone means 75 lakh hectares of land will be affected in the Indo-Gangetic plains. 75 lakh hectares of land. If there is a flood, it will affect the 75 lakh, and it has lost means 1,600 lives. People have lost their life, and in terms of money, it will be 1,805 crores of worth property has been damaged. So here there are a lot of events means where the floods are occurring in different time period. And the most important consequences is the population mortality, economic losses, population evacuation, and infrastructure destruction. Means if the flood occurs, people will be dying, and economic losses will take, and people has to be evacuated from that place, as well as buildings and properties will be damaged. So this is the flood zone map of India, and you can find the Indo-Gangetic plains have lot number of floods, as well as the Gujarat region and the coastal regions of India. So another major issue in disaster in India is the heat waves. So the heat wave, actually, since India has got two types of land configuration. One is the southern India, or the peninsular India is having peninsular location, 3 sides covered by water and 1 side land. Whereas the northern India it's covered by, it is a landlocked region. It is covered by the Bangladesh, Thailand, means China and all other countries here in the east, and towards the west it is covered by Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other countries. On the north, again, China and Himalayan mountains. Because of this intercontinental location, the temperature in the central India is too high. That too, in the Thar deserts, the temperature will go high. So this results into heat wave, which will travel to a long distance, and the people who are get exposed to these heat waves will have brain hemorrhage, and they die due to that. And coming over to the cyclone, you can find the cyclone is associated with very strong wind movement as well as rainfall. So because of these two reasons, both strong wind and rainfall, most of the property and life is get damaged. So cyclones are huge revolving storms caused by winds blowing around a central area of low atmospheric pressure. And it is in the northern hemisphere, cyclones are called hurricanes or typhoons. And in the southern hemisphere, they're called as tropical storms or cyclones. So the cyclones have got a power to uproot the tree or the building, and can carry the vehicles, the four-wheelers itself into air. So that much of strong winds will blow. And see, if you look at this map, the cyclone-prone areas of India, both when compared to the eastern side, western side, Eastern India is more susceptible to cyclones. It begins from West Bengal up to Kerala. So even parts of Karnataka is affected by cyclone. So this is one of the most serious disaster, but the property loss is more, but the loss of death has come down drastically due to the application of remote sensing technologies, and they can predict the path of the cyclone. Now, the artificial intelligence mapping has come, and based on the origin of the cyclonic storm and the temperature, the sea surface temperature, the land surface temperature, as well as the humidity condition, and all these elements put together, they can be able to forecast the path of the cyclone. So they can able to give prior caution, warning to the people that the cyclone is going to hit your place, so that they can be shifted to safer location. So through this means, yes. Any question? So this is how this cyclones in India has been monitored. So, okay, coming over to the desertification, which is the most serious disaster, which was not given importance until one decade. So people were not knowing about the term desertification. Desertification means it was considered to be the land adjacent to the desert, and those desert material carried by the wind and deposited into the adjacent land is called as desertification. That was the common definition that was used. Even when I went for the UGC presentation to get the project on desertification process in Karnataka, I was also not given any funds in the first attempt. But they just said that there is no any desert. How can you can say that the desertification process is happening? So they rejected my request, my application for getting funds for conducting the research on desertification process in Karnataka. It is only in the second attempt I could able to succeed. I said that desertification means you need not to stick on only to the good old definition of the spreading of the sand material to adjacent region is called desertification. Even the transformation of land from the humid region to subhumid, subhumid to semi-arid, semi-arid to arid, and arid to dry type of a climatic condition is also, because in future that's going to be a desert. So what we should call for them, if it is a place is becoming a desert in gradually, that should be called as desertification. So after convincing the committee, I could able to get the project money sanctioned for conducting desertification study in Karnataka, research study. So if you look at this map itself, you can easily get an idea. So this is what the visual interpretation, this remote sensing technology has given such a perfect. I told you it is authentic, it is so scientific, it is perfect, and there is no any kind of exaggeration or diluting of the information. So everything is crystal clear, and you have, at least you can make out three types of conditions here. Three types of uh, land condition. So anyone, if you would like to answer, you can identify and answer to me. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. So anybody is willing to answer to this question? The three types of land condition based on, by seeing this map, the world satellite image. Yes, Sudhakar.
Nothing, sir. Nothing, sir.
Now, here I am just giving it chance for you to make a visual interpretation. There are this map itself will give where there is more rainfall and very less rainfall. Can you tell me where more rainfall region and very less rainfall region?
In India, it is Eastern Ghats, sir.
Yeah. Then? Okay. See, if you look at this map, it's here, this portion, can you see here? It is too sandy or too bright. Too bright here is too sandy or no vegetation. So where there is no vegetation, it means there is no rainfall. It is totally desert. So the Arabian desert. So this is Arabian desert. And you can find here the Gobi desert, the China. Gobi deserts are here. And China is having a moderate type of rainfall, and it is neither desert nor too green land. Whereas if you look at the Himalayas, the evergreen Himalayan patch, the eastern Himalayan evergreen patch, the western Ghat Himalayan patch here, and you can find the East Asia, especially this Thailand, Philippines, means the Thailand region has got Myanmar. Thailand and Myanmar has got a lot of vegetation, and the rest of the places are moderate. Moderate means in India itself, we can find Thar Desert, too bright, sandy, and the Indo-Gangetic Plains, light green and very dull green in the central India, in the Madhya Pradesh and other places you can find. So this satellite image itself will give directly. No one need not to study any book or to know which are the places having good amount of rainfall or good amount of vegetation, and which are the places no vegetation. No vegetation means totally no vegetation means it is nothing but desert. So we can easily see this Arabian desert, this Gobi desert and Thar desert here. And China is almost having a interlocked situation, hence it is having a moderate level of rainfall. It is all because of the river, it is sustaining. But when compared to China, India is better in receiving rainfall. It is all because of the monsoon winds. Okay. So we can see in this picture much more what the entire global view is provided, and this is the Arabian deserts and Afghanistan. All this what major Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all these regions are almost in a kind of dry condition. And in India, we can find on the green, as well as the Southeast Asian countries have a lot of green. Okay. And you can find Sri Lanka is having good greenery. So desertification, as I told you, the evergreen forest will convert into semi-evergreen from semi-evergreen to it will be semi-arid type of forest, means dry deciduous forest. Dry deciduous to it will become bushes and shrubs and bushes. Means you find where there is no rainfall, very less rainfall, you find shrubs and bushes. Shrubs and bushes are common. And finally, that will transform into a desert like this. Can you see? It will transform into a desert. And a reduction in the natural potential of the land and depletion in surface and groundwater resources accompany with it to transform into a desert. The term desertification was first coined by French scientist and explorer. And if you look at this deserts of the world, and it is very much clear. So the mid-latitude regions are having more deserts rather than the tropical regions. So the tropical regions have more greenery. If you take the Congo basins of Africa, this is the Sahara deserts, and the Arabian deserts. This is the Gobi deserts. So this is having more dry climate rather than the tropical regions. The main factors which are causing desertification is climate change and population pressure. So here, over-cultivation and overgrazing of land, forest clearing for agriculture purpose, cultivation in marginal lands, flowing on steep slopes, environmental pollution, overuse of water for irrigation, the sand dune movement, lack of governmental legislation protecting the environment, inadequate rainfall and salinization. These are the causes of desertification, and the indicators of desertification are decrease in soil depth. So when the soil depth decreases, means more wind action, less of river and deposits. So decrease in soil organic matters. When the soil depth decreases, and along with soil depth, if the soil doesn't have organic content in it, then that is also an indicator of desertification. Decrease in soil fertility. So this organic matter, if there is no organic matter, quite naturally, the soil fertility will be less. Then soil crust formation means the soil itself will form into a rocky type of formation, and increase in the frequency of dust storms means when there is more number of dust storms are taking place, that is also again a clear indication of desertification. The salinization of water, a decline in quality and quantity of groundwater and surface water. When the groundwater loses its quality and also the quantum of water decreases, that is also again a good indicator of desertification. And you find increased surface rock area and increasing of barren land. Means when more and more land is exposed rocky surfaces, and more land becomes barren, nothing can be cultivated. That is a good indicator of desertification. The land means we call this as when the area becomes too rocky and nothing is cultivated. It is nothing but the degraded land degradation. Means it also happens, land degradation happens due to overgrazing also. Overgrazing and no check for the soil erosion. So biological indicators: decrease in cover, decrease in above ground biomass, decrease in yield, failure of species successfully to reproduce, permanent loss of indigenous plant species, change in population of domestic animals, change in herd composition, decline in livestock production, decline in livestock. All these are all seen in the places where the region is transforming towards the desertification. And change in land use also results into, means it is again indicator, change in land use. Suppose previously, say for example, some 100 years back, people used to grow paddy by rainfall, not by any type of irrigation, either not by channel irrigation, canal irrigation, or borewell irrigation. Suppose if that region stopped cultivating paddy directly from rainfall, and if they are using other means of irrigation, then there is a climate change as well as that is leading towards desertification. So change in population means whether the population in an area, usually the trend of population growth is the area which is having 100 number or 100 members. Next 10 years, it will certainly develop into 150 or 200. Suppose if it is a vice versa, instead of growing trend, if the population start decreasing in that area, it is nothing but the land is losing its capacity to keep the people in that area. Means desertification. It is only happens when there is desertification. So change in social process like increased conflict between the groups, marginalization, migration. So all these are all the other indicators of desertification. And let me not, this is a Excel a flow chart, the methodology of how to identify the land degradation. So these are the various lands having a desertification scenario. So each one of these, if just by looking at itself, you can identify. See here and there, some trees are there. Means this tree is sustaining not because of the rainfall, it is because of some amount of underground water. So if there is good rainfall, the entire region would have been green. But here and there tree indicates that it is good underground water and it is sustained. Hello, can you hear me? I think the connection was lost. Hello?
It's audible, sir. We are hearing.
Okay, okay. Because I do not know where I missed my presentation. Just a minute. My slides went off. Okay, can you see this? Oh. So did you lose connection again? No?
Sir, slide is not visible.
Okay, now?
No, slide is not visible, sir.
Now it is visible. I have brought in. Okay,
No, sir, not yet.
1 minute, 1 minute. I put share screen. Can you see now?
No, sir.
Is it visible now?
Not yet.
What's the problem? One person can share at a time.
Now it's visible, sir.
Yes, now it is good.
Mm. 1 minute, it's loading. Okay. Okay. So did you understand what I was explaining? Actually, if the rainfall is good, then there will be more green vegetation. Here and there, vegetation means it is no rainfall as well as no underground water. And the most at the end of the time means what will happen? It will become a desert. So you can find this type of hilly terrain will lose more vegetation due to the wind action, and finally this will become a cold deserts. And you can find the landslide has resulted into loss of land. So let me not take too long time here. Let me go to my work, because another at 1 o'clock we have to stop, isn't it? Up to, yeah. So the overgrazing of animal results into desertification, and the soil erosion due to no cutting of trees. The trees acts as a barrier, or means it holds the soil from erosion, from rainfall erosion, river erosion. So if the trees are cut, the deforestation occurs, and the grazing is done, definitely that area will result into desert. And the global thirst on drought and desertification says that 1/5 population are in the threat of drought or desertification, and 1.6 billion hectares are affected in Asia. 110 countries have dry land. Those are potentially at risk of desertification. The income losses throughout the world, it is estimated 42 billion per year. $42 billion per year. So because this desertification process is a slow killing effect. It doesn't kill man, but it kills the life of man, means the livelihood of man. So that is the major what the most serious impact of desertification. It doesn't show off directly, means in case of earthquakes, floods, cyclones, or landslides, so immediately we'll come to know about its impact. But this desertification, it's a very slow killer. So slow killer means it will not kill man, but it kills the whole human livelihood. So the desertification in Africa has increased to 50 million hectares, and the semi-arid lands have decreased by 50 million hectares. Means 50 and humid as well as semi-arid lands. Means humid means where there is a rainfall and moderate rainfall. Lands in Africa has decreased to 50 million hectares. And you can find in this map the risk of human-induced deserts. So there is a natural desert. It's one aspect, means the human-induced deserts. Desertification is another major threat. You can find this all the means India is almost the entire, except the Thar desert. The rest of the India is under desertification through human intervention. So Thar desert is from the natural way, it is already desert. So now the entire India is under the risk of desertification. Means the whole India itself is under the process of desertification. So that's why it is so important. And so prediction of desertification is difficult, because the complexity of the interaction of the multiple driving forces and its long-term nature. Therefore, we are using the term monitoring rather than prediction, where desertification is concerned or where it may happen. At least two types of analysis that currently help us to assess desertification vulnerability. That is the vulnerability analysis produced by operational drought early warning system and global desertification assessment. So we had to be very much careful in assessing the vulnerability of desert in our local regions. So if you do not have the knowledge of what is the indication of desertification, as I told you, so many indicators. If you do not have the knowledge of those indicators, even though it is happening in your own land, you will not be knowing that the land is going to turn up into desert in another 50 years or 100 years. So satellite image make it possible to study a large surface area in its totality. Both natural and anthropogenic phenomena can be mapped out. The most interesting aspect of the satellite technology is that it can means the entire India can also be mapped, and we can find out where the desertification is going on. And also to a local level, we can also do that. Using a time series of satellite images, one can follow a desert expansion or land declination from the desert, estimates the danger and plan out measures for combating desertification of a sustainable management of a fragile regions. So satellite images can highlight relevant land use changes along with increased surface reflectivity, temperature, dryness, and dustiness. So the satellite images will give means every day satellite image. If you just keep and need not to have every day, even if it is for 6 months period, and if you analyze for the same area, say for example Mysore district, and if you take the satellite image of 1990s and until today for every 6 months, and if you just go on comparing, you can find a big change of dryness rather than wet condition. So that kind of analysis can bring a good study about the places of desertification and the level of desertification. So monitoring can be useful to detect areas where soil erosion is taking place, where vegetation is being disturbed, or where sand dunes are beginning to shift. So these are the indicators. So where this kind of changes are taking place, we can easily say that this place is under threat. So you can see what are the changes. Just it is a temporal analysis. So taking the satellite image of 1977, 1989, 2002, 1977, sorry, 1977, this is satellite image and the mapping, 1989 and the mapping, and 2002. You can find what is the area. This is what I said. See, you can neatly map and find the area, even as of an hectare of land conversion can also be identified through satellite image. So here you can find there is a lot of changes. 1977, if you compare 1977 map with 2002, you can see there are a lot of changes has taken place in the land with respect to the greenery is concerned, means it has increased. So if you take a positive measures in order to prevent desertification, you can see there is a good growth of vegetation in 2007, whereas it was very less in 1977. So this is a Landsat image of sand dunes of the capital of Mauritania, North Africa. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. 1 minute.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು 20,000 ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಕಟ್ಟಂಗೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದು
Just it's getting loaded 1 minute. Just it will be taking some. Okay. Can you see this screen? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. The other slides has to come. So if you look at this slide, you can able to see the forest cover has been reduced. Means we have done research for the entire Karnataka, and we have utilized the topographical maps of 1930, 1974 topographical means 1:2 250,000 scale topographical maps, which was prepared by the British government 1930. That was the first topographical map. After 1930, 1974, that is post-independence period, the topographical maps and the satellite images we have used continuously. And we see that in Karnataka itself, major part of the forests have been cleared. So even in that way, Mysore University campus was under sandalwood forest. Sandalwood forest. It is even today it is in the records we can see it is the sandalwood forest. So likewise, lot of forest means deforestation has taken place. Because of the deforestation, we have lost rainfall. So in this slide, you can see what is the total of very dense forest, moderate dense forest, open forest, and total percentage of forest to the total geographical area. And the most highest land under vegetation, you can find 46 means this one according to the alphabetical order. And if you see the eastern Himalayas and the Himalayas and the Western Ghats, these are the Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats have good forest area. Other than that, the interior lands like the interior parts of Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, all these regions have lost a lot of forest area. This is one of the serious matter that has been reduced, means resulted into desertification. So you can see through this satellite image here, This is mainly focused to Karnataka, and you can easily see as well as Tamil Nadu, parts of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and also Kerala, some parts of Kerala. But when compared to, can you see my mouse movement, cursor movement? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is in movement. Moving, sir.
Okay, so this is what the interior land is. Interior land means which is far away. When the distance between the sea and the land increases more than 250 kilometers. So up to here, we can easily see this is the sea impact area. Up to 250 kilometers, we can find little light green, and this side, in the western side, it is quite dark green because of the Western Ghats. And whereas the interior part like Mysore, Bangalore, and the northern Karnataka, it is totally dry. So these places which were once having the humid type of a condition has transformed into semi-arid, and now it is arid. Actually, we classify on the basis of rainfall. On the basis of 250 centimeters and above is humid. 250 centimeters and above is wet. 250 to 100 centimeters, 250 to 150 centimeters is humid. 150 to 100 is subhumid. 100 to 75 is semi-arid, and arid is less than 75 to 50. Now Mysore is getting rainfall of 70 centimeters, means it is almost touching to the arid condition. It is in semi-arid and it will definitely reach arid condition. So like this, you can see most of the regions are getting drier and drier, which will be a good indication of desert in future. So this map also gives a clear idea about the type of land, and where there is some irrigated command areas, you can find green patch in between these in the interior lands. The rest of the lands have lost vegetation, and it is seen more whitish. So the drought affected areas means in India, these are the most severely drought affected areas. So if you look at this map, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Karnataka are most severely affected by drought. Even the parts of Andhra Pradesh and parts of Maharashtra, means the suicide cases, former suicide case travels from here to this in this direction. The interior parts of Karnataka, the interior parts of Andhra Pradesh, the interior parts of Maharashtra. This is the former suicide region. So man-induced desertification. Let us see the man-induced desertification. See, this is this schematic diagram which shows you. So what man is doing in order to get the groundwater, rainfall has decreased. To harness the rainfall, he is putting more and more borers, due to which the lakes are getting dried and evapotranspiration is decreases. Means for a rainfall, there should be evapotranspiration. The water vapor that is released from the vegetation is most important for getting rainfall. When that is decreased, the temperature has increased. Due to temperature, again that will have a bad, means negative impact on the trees, means the trees will get dried. First of all, the trees will be less when there is less rainfall. Because the rainfall is less, the water shortage is there. For agriculture, they're putting borewells. The borewell leads to drying of lakes, evapotranspiration will be reduced, and temperature increases. When temperature increases, the trees get dried. So this is one order of desertification. And another, anthropogenic deforestation. The cutting of trees leads to decrease in rainfall, and the water recharge decreases. When there is no rainfall and no tree, water recharge will decrease, because the tree roots acts as a good agent of stopping the flow of water, and it makes the water to drain inside or percolate inside. When the percolation of water reduces, that leads to drop in vegetation, and finally that will result into desertification. You can see this much of groundwater is harvested, means this is for many years the groundwater has been charged, and if we put a borewell and take out the water in few hours, definitely that will have a serious impact. And this is the number of borewells dug, means they are dug up to 2000 feet in Kolar region, and in Chamarajanagar they have gone up to 1500 feet. So even the most bottommost water is also used. So this definitely results into a desert condition in future. So the temperature is increasing, and the dryness is increasing, the tree dryness, and once the tree dries, automatically the people will come and cut the trees. So the people are also cutting the green tree. So when the trees are cut, the rainfall decreases, and rainfall, due to decrease in rainfall, there will be no good recharge of underground water, and the poor recharge of underground water results into even the tiny plants will dry. Actually, see, the plant will survive basically by rainfall, and in case if there is a failure of rainfall, at least the groundwater will support. If there is no rainfall as well as there is no groundwater, definitely that region will not have any vegetation. So this is what happening around our Mysore region. So in Karnataka, we have, means Karnataka is the second most driest state in India. First is Rajasthan, and the second one is Karnataka. This information was not known before. When I took up research and when I started doing analysis, I could able to find this is most coming dry, and even I was little afraid of to publish it, saying that Karnataka is the most driest state in India. But later on, the other studies also came up, and so I also got the courage of publishing it, that saying that India, Karnataka is the most driest second one to, means in India it is the second driest state, next only to Rajasthan. So we have good drainage system. What the drainage system indicates? The drainage system indicates that there was good rainfall many years ago. Means the if there is rain only, there can be a path. Without rain, there cannot be a path. So, hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Sir, we can hear.
Okay. So, if you look at this river network, so all this is nothing but the tributaries, the major tributaries, minor tributaries, and the major rivers. So this is having a very good drainage network, but there is no good water in the river. What is the reason? The reason is no good rainfall. So the climate change has occurred. Definitely it has occurred. And whether we are aware and whether we are taking any measures to prevent further enhancement of this condition, definitely not. So, and you can find the rainfall situation, means the western side is having more rainfall, and the eastern side it decreases. Means as we proceed from the coastal region towards the interior line, the rainfall decreases. So the underground water extraction. See, more and more groundwater is extracted in these places, the Pavagada Tumkur region, then the Chitradurga, and also in Chamarajanagar, and here in Belgaum region. So this clearly indicates that the groundwater, where more and more groundwater is utilized, it is a clear indicator that there is less rainfall and people are inevitably depending on groundwater. So this is the drainage density. As I already told you, a good drainage density is there, but there is no good water. And the distribution of livestock is another important aspect. Where more number of goats and sheep are reared, that place is under desertification. If more number of cattle population is there, that place is having good rainfall. So population density and the desertification, you can see more population means where there is the under the process of desertification, the areas under the process of desertification, those places are having less population now. Whereas it was different in earlier in 1991, it was different in 2011, it is different in 2021, it's different. So, okay. So now we see the ultimate result. The final result of my analysis has showed that, can you, if you see the entire interior parts of Karnataka and the Belgaum region, the Bijapur, Belgaum, these places are under severe threat. The dark red color is most severe, and you can find very high risk is 51 to 56 and low is 36 to 41. This is the value. This, after taking more than 15 parameters, I have developed this map of vulnerability or desertification prone regions of Karnataka. So in this, I have marked the Chamarajanagar, except the Kollegal region. Gundlupette and Chamarajanagar taluks are highly prone for desertification, and here Raichur, Bellary, and Tumkur, Chitradurga, these regions are under great threat, and the Belgaum region is under great threat. So I have listed out, I can give village-wise information. What is the level of desertification up to village level in these districts and taluks? So I have marked, if you look at this table, you will get which are the taluks. These are the taluk maps. You can get the which are the taluks which are having high level of risk. Very high risk is Indi in Sindagi, Bijapur, Atni, Basmama Bagawadi, Chitradurga, Davanagere, Chalkere, Chandrayapatna, Gokak, Madhugiri, Pavagada. So these all are the very high risk, and this high risk Chamarajanagar comes under high risk. Chamarajanagar, Nanjangoodu, Gundlupette. So these places comes under high risk, and I have focused my study more and more towards these two taluks, Chamarajanagar and Gundlupette taluk. So you can find much more clearly. See, the Pandapura, if I tell anybody from Pandapura, they will be shocked, but Pandapura is having high risk of desertification. It's well irrigated taluk as well as highly. Actually, it is all because of the Vishweshwaraya Canal and water from Krishnaraja Sagar Dam. Mandya district is in green condition. Otherwise, it would have been another most high risk area. So this is actually the actual condition of land. So the quarrying is also another most dangerous thing which is happening in this region. And you just see this map. It is the topographical map of 1:250,000. and we can find a lot of green vegetation, that is forest. That is in 1930s. If you see in 1930s, so the forest has been decreased. So here, the previous so much of forest is there in HD Kotte Taluk, but now it is decreased, and you can find much more decrease in forest area. And so this is the underground water level, and there is one village in Gundlapete, which is Bhimanubidu, and in that village itself they had dug more than 1,500 borewells. So you can imagine what will happen if one village itself is having 1,500 borewells. So with this, I'll just concluding my talk. So, and if anybody has got any questions, you can ask me. I will be very much pleased to answer your questions. Thank you. So, is there any questions? Hello, can